Hello, beautiful people, adoring fans, passers-by. Welcome back to another episode of Bailey Cooks. This week, we're gonna be making Peking duck from China. So the first thing you may be wondering is, why does Bailey look different? Her hair seems straightened, her nails seem longer. Who is she? Well, the answer is, people, that it's my birthday on December the 8th and I wanna look glam. Usually I don't have my big claws on for cooking, but this week I figured you guys can make an exception. So the first thing that I'm gonna walk you guys through is the pancake. Typically when you're eating Peking duck, you have a little pancake to wrap and hold everything in. This is not a pancake, this is a rice cracker because some of us need snacks while we're cooking food. I also have a cup of tea with a couple shots of brandy in it, and let me tell you, it's a great way to warm up. Woo! I know I walked you guys through bread in the last episode, but pancakes are a little bit different. The pancake mixture doesn't use yeast to let it rise. You don't want it to rise. You want it to be a nice flat little pancake. For our actual duck, we're going to be using jackfruit. En français, jackfruit. Hey Bailey, it's your birthday. We're going to party like it's your birthday. We're going to sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. And we'll eat jackfruit if it's your birthday. Jackfruit is awesome. It's one of my favorite ingredients. You can use it to replace, honestly, pretty much any meat. It's like tofu in the sense that it's gonna take on whatever flavors you pair it with, but it's kind of a nice alternative to that soy that we're eating so much of the time as vegetarians. This you can really get nice and crispy. It's great for pulled pork. I'm seeing that a lot lately because it kind of rips and pulls apart just like meat does rather than tofu where it kind of crumbles. So like I say, first thing we're going to do is make our pancakes because they have to sit for about a half an hour. The first thing we want is to boil water. Do you hear the water boiling away? We are gonna start with a full cup of flour. I'm gonna add half now and put in my boiling water, mix that all together, and then I'm gonna add the cold water and the rest of the flour. It's a crazy technique, I'm not gonna argue with it. I've got my water boiled here. It's gonna be 6 tablespoons. I'm gonna wait like 2 minutes because apparently if you pour the water in when it's like at a rolling boil, it makes the mixture slimy and unworkable. Like so many bad people I know. It should come together a little bit. You don't want it a homogeneous mixture just yet. Da-da-da-da. Brandy break. Now I'm gonna add the rest of the flour. Oh my God, I almost broke my own rule. And now we're gonna do 4 tablespoons of cool water. The dough feels so nice and warm. I'm gonna knead that now. And the reason behind the boiling water is because it's breaking down the gluten, so you're getting more of a tender pancake. It's all about breaking down that gluten. It's very bizarre working with long painted nails. I'm not used to it. Hopefully one doesn't fall off in the dough. It's just gonna add a little extra crunch if someone finds one in there. Extra, extra! Man finds nail in his pancake. Once that gets to an almost workable texture, we're gonna let that sit and just chill out for 30 minutes or more. That'll give us plenty of time to get jacked. Look how sweet and small he is. I remember when he was just a lump of flour. Why, these nails make taking off lids a breeze. These particular tins of jackfruit are being stored in brine. So that's definitely what you want rather than the jackfruit that's packed in syrup. If that's all you can get, it's okay, but it's gonna be like really, really sweet. Kinda like me. So we're gonna drain these now. I'm not gonna keep any of the liquid just because I want these to be nice and dry so they can get really, really crispy. It's the same with meat. If you want it to get crispy, it has to be dry. Typically, you would start with frying a little bit of green onion in a pan with some oil. I don't have green onion, but don't panic. Nobody panic! I have a leek. It's just about the same thing. I'm probably gonna use 3/4 of it to fry up now and 1/4 of it for garnish later. Please make sure that you cut it open down the middle and wash it thoroughly. I don't want any of you getting thick. Leeks are so awesome. You can put them in honestly everything. I have them with my eggs every single day and I'm not tired of them yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and fry the upper part of the leek and keep the lower, more tender part of the leek to eat raw. Hey, did someone take a leek in here? I have cut these into fairly small pieces. Similarly to an onion, when I cook them in the pan with the oil, they are gonna kind of melt away a tiny bit and shrink. I'm gonna be going from here to the stove and back again. Don't worry, I'm not leaving you. I'm right here. You're like a child at the playground. Stay within eyesight, Janet. If I can't see you from over here, then you've gone too far. Now we're gonna fry up some ginger with that. Oh, this is a sad little piece of ginger. He got put in the freezer to try and preserve him, but I don't think it worked. He's been mummified. I've got my leeks frying behind me with a lot of oil, more than I'd care to admit. And I'm just gonna add this finely chopped ginger to the mix, and I'm going to follow that up with a couple tablespoons of Chinese 5-spice. It's not difficult to make if you have a spice grinder. I do have a spice grinder here. I just thought, you know, I've got this in the house. I might as well use it up. It's good quality, so why not? Crafty. So your typical 5-spice is going to have cinnamon, fennel, star anise, cardamom, and ginger. Again, you're more than welcome to buy the whole spices, toast them, and then grind them down. That's lovely. I'm just trying to save a little time for y'all, and you can't blame me for that. To this mixture that I've got going back there, I'm just gonna add teaspoon and a half. Hallelujah. I like 5-spice. Hallelujah. You know, these rice crackers aren't bad considering they're gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, cholesterol-free, and no salt added. I feel my good health growing and expanding. I've got my mixture toasting back there. The only thing left to add is garlic. I am gonna let that 5-spice powder cook out a little bit just so the flavors get kind of reawakened. They've been in that package so long, they don't even know who they are anymore. Okay, I'm putting in my garlic now. I've got 3 big bulbs here. I do love a garlic press this time of year. Now, something I questioned when making this video was whether or not to use hoisin sauce. Hoisin sauce is a really commonly used condiment in China, and it's used in a lot of different dishes. It's basically soy sauce, it's got its ginger, the garlic, basically a lot of the things that we're already putting in. Only one main component is peanut butter. Now, usually on a piece of meat, I would say that's a really cool idea, like on duck where it can handle it. Jackfruit, on the other hand, already has kind of an odd, kind of peculiar taste. So I think adding peanut butter to it might be, I don't know, a little gross. I do want to keep it traditional, but I think instead of using that peanut butter for that kind of rich, earthy sweetness, instead I'm going to be using a combination of a tamarind and date chutney mixed with a liquid smoke. And I feel like that's gonna give it more of a balanced smoky flavor that's gonna make it taste more like the actual duck. It's time. It's what we've all been waiting for. We're gonna add our jackfruit to the pan. I'm gonna hold off, as much as it hurts my salty little heart, on using salt, just because we're gonna be adding our soy sauce and our sesame oil now, and both of those can contribute to that salty flavor. We can always check it out at the end to see if it needs salt, but just add your soy sauce for now. I've added about 3 tablespoons of that, give or take. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add tamarind paste. This is a cool ingredient to have if your dish needs like a little something, like if it's a curry or whatever that needs like a little bit of like, what is that? Sometimes the flavors that you can't recognize right away are kind of the nice ones, the subtle flavors. Okay, I've added both of those. Please, for the love of God, be careful with liquid smoke. It's a really strong flavor, and if you add too much, it's just gonna taste, it's gonna taste bad. I'm just giving you guys a quick little peek at what it's starting to look like for me. We've got that really nice, dark, rich flavor from the 5-spice as well as the soy sauce. Our jackfruit is just starting to soak up that sauce. We wanna leave it for a while. We wanna let it cook on a low heat until that water is cooked off and until the jackfruit has absorbed a lot of that flavor. You wanna maybe take a fork or 2 forks and pull it apart into those nice little strings so it kind of resembles pulled pork. Not too much, you do still want to keep it in nice little chunks so we have a nice piece to put on our pancakes, which are almost ready. Oh, she's salty. but she's good. I really, really like jackfruit when it's nice and crispy, so we're just gonna put it on a baking sheet and put it in the oven at 400 for about 15 to 20 minutes so it gets uber, uber crunchy. I haven't eaten yet today, so this is all looking very appetizing. Even the little scraps on my cutting board. It's been about a half hour. We've got our jackfruit simmering in the back. We're just gonna get started on our pancakes. Jackfruit simmering, pancakes getting rolled. Life is fine. I'm gonna take a little flour and spread it over my work surface so nothing sticks. Now the technique for this is actually pretty cool. We're gonna kind of roll it into a log. It's similar to a scallion pancake in that we want it to have lots of those nice flaky layers. And then what I saw done was that it was cut into pieces about this big. These pancakes can be as big as you want them to be. There's a big ass squirrel outside. Typically the ones that I've seen are about this big. They're pretty small. You just kind of want like a couple bites. And then the cool part was that you take 2 of them and actually stack them and squish them on top of each other. So I guess this creates more layers when you pan fry it. Everybody gets a match. It's like a little dough tinder. So that's made me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, my lucky number. And I'm pretty sure it's the Chinese lucky number too. So I have a good feeling about this. I'm gonna try and get these round. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I do know that you want them nice and thin and so that both layers have completely come together. She's perfect. Ooh, there's something weird in there. Something weird in my pancake, dear Liza. Something weird in my pancake. What is it? Don't know. It looks like a mushroom. Or maybe it's the letter T. I pity the fool that can't roll round pancakes. So I'm just gonna roll out the rest of my little dough balls into nice pancakes. I'm gonna let my jackfruit simmer on the stove until that liquid has reduced, it's absorbed it. Then after that, we're gonna pan fry these pancakes. While we're pan frying these, I'm gonna put the jackfruit in the oven so it gets even crispier. And then we're going to assemble them. Okay, I'm just about to put this in the oven, 400 for about 15 to 20 minutes, just so it gets nice and crispy. I put a tiny bit of brown sugar in it just because I felt like it could use a tiny hit of sweetness. But that's entirely up to you. By the time this gets nice and crispy, we should have our pancakes ready to go. For these pancakes, you want the pan dry. It's similar to naan in that way because you want it to puff up rather than like deep fry. So keep it at like a medium heat and you should be fine. So I'm taking you on a fun little trip to the stove and we're just gonna see if those puff up. Ooh! Oh yeah. So these are the finished pancake element. My jackfruit is still in the oven. You can see that these came out a little tiny bit brown in places. You don't want that. Typically, you want a pretty even cook on it, but as long as we don't have any like black spots like you typically would on a naan, then we're okay. You want them pretty flexible and bendable so you can fill it with your toppings, fold it, and then eat it. As far as toppings go, typically there's cucumber and green onion, which I've sliced up finely here that we're gonna put in alongside with some sesame seeds. Now my jackfruit is out of the oven. It's not burnt, I swear to God. It looks really, really dark on camera, but I assure you that is just a gorgeous dark brown char. That's what they all say. But seriously, it looks really, really good, nice and crispy. That 5 spice has given it such a beautiful color and it seems to have absorbed everything. You guys, I wish I could just send this smell directly to you. One day I'll be able to. We're just gonna keep stacking and pile it to heaven. Guess who's ready for her big debut? There you have it, folks. That's 2 pancakes piled high with jackfruit Peking duck style, topped with some sliced leeks and some sesame seeds. Peking duck is China's national dish. If you can think of a dish you would like to see prepared, completely vegetarian, why don't you just leave it on down below? Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in next week.